Hey guys, welcome back to yet another YouTube video. This is, some of you guys might call it a part 2 maybe of my 2021 AFL season predictions. As I'm recording this, is about just over an hour away from the first bounce of the season, so I've probably stuck this in just in the nick of time. As I'm recording this, so for this time, I'm going to tell you some of the reward winners, some of the headlines, and of course the big call I'm gonna make, and also make 10 bold predictions, which I've got down here as well. So let's start off firstly with the big one. Who's going to take home the Charlie? Who's going to take home the Charles Brownlow medal? I think this year I'm very confident in this. I think judging by his performance in the Community Series game against North Melbourne, I'm confident he will do it, and that's Marcus Bontempelli. If I was a gambler, I would pay your bottom. I would bet your bottom. I would bet you. Blah. That's a tongue twister. I would bet my bottom dollar to see the Bont win the Charlie. I believe. I think it's Bont time. I think it's Bont time for me. So yeah, and I think, as I said in my latter prediction, I think he'll be more. He'll be more like a Dustin Martin or a Patrick Dangerfield, where he can go in the midfield and then go forward and kick goals, or Dusty at some point. Now with Treloar, now with Treloar in that midfield, I think that he will benefit from. I think the Bont will spend more time forward this year. The Coleman medal. Now I've gotten two. I've got two types of this year. Of course, the key forward / tall forward and the small forward. I think a small forward can heavily contend for the Coleman medal this year. I think we all want it. I think the key forward, I believe, is Josh Kennedy. I think he has, of course, he's done this for many years, and I don't think he fought. I think for me, he only had a couple of really good games last season when it was a shortened season and the shortened matches with 16 minutes. I mean, I think for me, in my memory, the only good game he played it was the Collingwood game when they when the Eagles smashed Collingwood and he kicked 7 goals. That was probably the only game where he was, in my opinion, that he was best at. But other than that, he wasn't at his best, and for that season, which everyone else would, to be fair, and yeah, so yeah, I think he'll be contender for the Coleman medal, much of the key forward and leader of the key forwards. The leader of the small forwards, I think it'll be Tom Papley. I think Papley, he is the. I think he, for me, and other people might say, he is the best small forward in the game. He's got the full package. He can put pressure on his opponent, and he can run with the ball, and obviously he can kick a goal. He's not that sort of key forward that could kick bags of goals like 3, 4, 5 every week. He is sort of a small forward that kicks 1 or 2 goals every game, or at least a goal or 2 every game, which is not bad to have in your side, to be honest. So yeah. So those are 2 out of the key forward and the small forward I would have for the Coleman, winning the Coleman medal. Next one is the Rising Star. I've picked two contenders here, and they're both number one draft picks. Number one draft picks, and that is Matt Rowell and Jamal Ugle-Hagan. And the reason why I'm saying it'll be a number one draft pick that will win this award is I've got evidence to support this. So, since the Rising Star award it was introduced in 1993. There has been 4 number one draft picks that have won this award, and that is Nick Revolt in 2002, Brett Galinio in 2005, and of course Andy McGrath in 2017, and Sam Walsh in 2019. The last two, 2017 and 2019. That is why I believe in 2021 we'll have another number one draft pick winning this award. It's either going to be, I think for me, it's either going to be Rowell or Ugle-Hagan. I can see more Rowell winning this award than Ugle-Hagan, I should say. And you might be, some of you guys might be confused. Why is Matt Rowell in contention for the Rising Star? And he's already had a Rising Star nomination. Well, the rules state, I believe, that if you haven't won the NAB Rising Star, and you're under 21 years of age, I believe, under 21 years of age, you can be eligible to win the NAB Rising Star. So even though Matt Rowell is in his second year, he can still. It's like the same one as Nick Revolt, where he was the number one draft pick in 2000, and he won it in 2002. So so you don't have to. I don't know if he had a Rising Star nomination in 2001, in the season 2001 anyway. I think he had, of course, we all know how good Rui was. So I think for me it's either going to be, it's going to be Rowell or Ugle-Hagan for me, and for me I see Rowell winning it more than Ugle-Hagan. That's just my opinion. Leave a comment down below. Do you think, what are your thoughts on this rule about having players that are 21 and under that already have had a Rising Star nomination in past seasons and still get a Rising Star nomination for the next season? I'd love to hear your thoughts and your opinion in the comment section down below. Recruit of the year, I have, it can only be one winner, and that's Jeremy Cameron. I think no surprises there. I think he'll live up to the hype of him being the big recruit that Geelong brought in this off season. He'll work very well with in my opinion, with Hawkins, and also the small forwards they have over there in Graham Myers and Gary Rowan. I believe he'll work very well with those guys, with those small forwards, and now Geelong, they're more dangerous than ever, because they were dangerous when they had Hawkins in the forward line. That was good in the one-on-one situation. Now you got Cameron Jezza in that forward line. Oh, that's going to be a forward line that's going to be dangerous and very hard to handle at times. And more importantly, it's going to be Adelaide. It's going to be their first targets for the season. Oh, I feel so bad for the Crows. I feel so bad for them. All-Australian captain and surprise All-Australian. I think the All-Australian captain, I think, will be Bontempelli. I think he will have a great enough season that he will be picked to become the All-Australian captain. I think it'll be the first time, I believe. I think he's never been All-Australian captain, so I think this will be the first time. If I predict this right, I believe he'll be the first time. It'll be a first time All-Australian captain. The surprise All-Australian, I think this young key forward will benefit from Joe Danaher being in the forward line at Brisbane, and that is Eric Hipwood. I think it's time. I think it's time for him to really show the AFL world that he can be touted as the next best thing. It's time for him. I think there's no excuses for him now that Brisbane have brought in Joe Danaher. I think there's, as I said, no excuses for him, and I think he will do what I think he will do well and maybe get 40, maybe even 50 goals this season. You know, who knows? But and it'll be enough for him to be All-Australian in the end. The headline we will see, and this one is not surprise. Well, some of you guys will not be surprising. That is Nathan Buckley to resign as Collingwood coach at season's end. Not during the season, at season's end. And I said this during the ladder predictions in my last video, the ladder predictions. I said this about Collingwood at some point about Collingwood. He said in an interview that if he thinks that he is not the direct he's not the guy that would take him take Collingwood to a new direction, then he will not be afraid to walk out. He will not be afraid to resign and walk out. He won't be scared to do that. And I think it's time. I think it's time. I think it's his 10th season as coach. Yeah, we've seen the likes of Danaher and we've seen the likes of Neil Danaher and all them guys that have been in the job for 10 years and then they don't survive the 11th year like Neil Danaher did when he eventually retired, and look how good, and then look how bad Melbourne went after he left as coach. And I believe Collingwood will go down the same direction again. I don't know who, if he does resign, I don't know who Collingwood will get. But I think Nathan Buckley still has a future in the AFL coaching ranks. So I think it would be great to work alongside Matthew Nicks at Adelaide. I think he can be a fantastic, be a brilliant mentor for him, because as you all know, Adelaide, he was, as I've said so many times, I'm going to say it again, I felt so bad for him during 2020 where he felt, I think for me, Nicks was just absolutely helpless as an AFL coach. I'm not saying helpless, but it looked like a guy who needed some desperate help, and I'm confident that Bucks can provide that. I think maybe not as not like an assistant coach role, but maybe a coaching role, but maybe as a support role to Nicks to support him in the next phase of course in his as he moves forward in his coaching career is Matthew Nicks. I think I could see him doing that way. I think, so as I said, Bucks I believe will resign at season's end as Collingwood coach. How many goals will the Cameron Hawkins combo kick? I was going to say 130 plus, but just before I did hit record on this video, but I changed my mind and say 140 plus, and I think both Cameron and Hawkins will kick 70 plus goals. and that counts finals. I think maybe 60 plus in the home and away rounds, but I think finals, if you count finals, I think 70 plus goals. And that's a combination that could easily win you premierships. But remember, we have an absolute dynamite team in Richmond, who are probably one of the best sides ever who we've ever seen. It's just gonna be unbelievable, and I can't wait to see how this new combination of Jeremy Cameron and Tom Hawkins will go at Geelong. Finally, the big call. This one's going to be a massive one. I predict Alistair Clarkson to, it doesn't matter what time, it doesn't matter if it's at season's end or during the season, walk out on Hawthorn as coach and resign. It will not probably be. It will probably one of the. I think the main reason why he'll walk is I think he'll come to blows with Jeff Kennett. I think at some stage he'll come to blows with him, and that would mean right, way to check, please. I can. And also a minor reason, not too bad, not too big a reason, but sort of. He is of course, this club's at a rebuild. They try to deny it, but it's kind of hard to ignore now. About them being in a rebuild stage, so I think my big call would be that Clarko will walk out on Hawthorn at some stage this season. Now for my 10 bold predictions. This is a random order. It's not in a case of most bold to least bold prediction possible. It's just in any order. The first one is Matt Rowell to get 30 plus disposals, 30 plus touches in 10 or more games. And I think that's doable. I think that's doable for him because he's not at that stage where he'll get like late 20s to early 30 touches every single week. Because there will be such thing as the tag that will be brought on him during the season. He'll get tagged at some stage, but I believe for me, he'll get I think 10 or more games, at least a minimum of 10 games. He'll get 30 touches. He might get the odd game or two where he will get 40 touches in a game, but yeah, I think that is for me quite doable. No, the second one, a big name player to have a season-ending injury. I'm not saying any player. Who knows who could it be? It could be Cripps, it could be Sloan, it could be Dangerfield. Just any big name player in the AFL, I think that will have a season-ending injury this season. Don't know when. I can see definitely a big name player getting injured, getting a season-ending injury at some stage in the season. Number 3, not Hawthorn. Adelaide Crows to win 6 games this season, and I've just now highlighted these possible 6 wins for them this season. I think Hawthorn, the both Hawthorn games and both North Melbourne games are winnable for them. I can definitely see that. The Essendon game at Marvel Stadium in round 17, that one is going to be a great game. It depends on where they are on the ladder at that stage of the year, and the round 22 game against Melbourne could possibly be a win for them. Even though it is at the MCG, I'm confident that is a possibility of a win there. So the wins for me, North Melbourne. So to recap it, North Melbourne in round 4, Hawthorn round 6, Essendon in round 17. So that is 10 or 10 games straight without a win at some stage during the season. Hawthorn in round 20, Melbourne round 22, and North Melbourne in round 23. I'm confident that they will end the season with back-to-back wins, with consecutive wins, just like what they did last season. But of course, they didn't win against Richmond in the final round last season. So that is that. Now number 4, Danaher, Joe Danaher and Eric Hipwood to score 80 plus goals combined this season. Don't know if Hipwood's would get and Danaher would get 40 plus goals. Will both get 40 plus goals, or Hipwood would get 50 plus and Danaher would get 30 plus. I don't know, but yeah, I think for me, I'm confident for them that as a partnership, I believe they will get 80 plus goals, and yeah. So now number 5 will be North Melbourne to lose their first 8 games of the season. Sorry to you North Melbourne fans out there. But I believe their first 8 games are going to be tough. I mean, in round 1 they got Port Adelaide, then they got Gold Coast, then they got the Western Bulldogs, Adelaide, Geelong, Fremantle, Melbourne, and Collingwood in that. And I think their first winnable game, in my opinion, and then the next 2, I believe, in rounds 9 and 10, which is against Hawthorn and Essendon, are winnable games for them. And then afterwards, it's just back to losable games for them. I think, I can definitely see them losing their first 8 games of the season, and just lose against superior opposition their first 8 games, and then hopefully maybe Hawthorn, they'll win their first game under David Noble, and then you never know what will happen against Essendon. Number 6 will be the top 2 in the. This is a big one. This one will be massive. The top 2 in the Coleman medal will be small forwards. I think Papley will be one of them, and as I said earlier. The other one, a couple that spring to mind, Charlie Cameron, Orazio Fantasia. It might be a chance if he is injury free. Who else is there? Who else is there? Liam Ryan. He can be a contender to be up there fighting it out for the Coleman. I can definitely see the top 2 in the Coleman medal being small forwards. I think as being good small forwards this season, or very good small forwards. Number 7, 4 Western Bulldogs players. At 7, 4 Western Bulldogs players will average over 25 disposals a game. And that is possible. I mean, the guns they have in their midfield, I think they've taken over Collingwood as the best midfield in the game. And how they prove that Treloar's gone from Collingwood to the Western Bulldogs. I mean, you got Treloar, you got Pendlebury, you got Dunkley, Liberatore, Even though ruck stocks as well with English and Martin and Stephen Martin in there as well. If there's more, that's a handful I can remember. Oh yeah, Lockie Hunter as well. I think if I had to guess the 4, I think it'll be the 2 definites will be Treloar and I almost said Pendlebury for a second. Bontempelli. Who will be the other ones? I think the other one will be Lockie Hunter. And the 4th one, that one's a tough one. I don't think Liberatore gets enough touches. Why not? I think Dunkley. Dunkley will be the 4th one that will average 25 plus touches per game. In that one. Number 8, St Kilda to lose their first 2 games, then, but it is the but will win their next 4 games after that. So as we look here, shall we? At the first 2 games St Kilda play, they play GWS in round 1, then they play Melbourne in round 2, but then the next 4 games after that, they verse St Kilda, West Coast, Richmond, and Port Adelaide. So so rounds 4, 5, and 6 are basically tough for them. But they do have a great record at Marvel Stadium anyway. I've only just found this out now. After round 1, then their next 4 or 5 games are all at Marvel Stadium. so they do play Marvel Stadium very well. Is St Kilda. They showed it only a few times last season. That they can play them very well. I think they'll struggle in their first 2 games, of course, with their 2 ruck tools in Marshall and Ryder out of the side. I think they'll struggle with that, and but once they do regain those 2, I think they will start winning games again and start challenging for the top 4, challenging for the top 8 again, and hopefully get closer to the top 4 in that regard. Number 9 will be a Brownlow medal favourite to get suspended during the season. Now, like I said about the big name player having a season-ending injury, I don't know who I don't. It's just a name. It's just a name. I don't know if it's gonna be Lockie Neal, gonna be Dangerfield, Cripps at some stage, Selwood. I don't know, but I think for me at some stage a Brownlow medal favourite. If it's going to be Neal, Cripps, Mitchell, I don't know, will get suspended during the season. I'm not going to say a name in that regard. But just a big Brownlow medal favourite could possibly get suspended during the season. And the final prediction, number 10. Is this season 2021 will be Alistair Clarkson's last as an AFL coach, and this is why. I think for me, I've heard recent rumours around about if Carlton don't have a good season this year under David Teague, then they can ship him off and get Alistair Clarkson. For me, I think for me, Clarko's game style in later years, in recent seasons at Hawthorn, is showing to not work. I think teams have found them out on that, and I don't think it'll work out in AFL level, and I don't think it'll definitely not work for a club like Carlton, who have a lot of exciting young talent like Cripps, Fisher, Dow, or Walsh. Maybe someone might benefit from Clarko being at the helm, but game style wise, the players will not be happy with that. They want to. I hope in this game that starts in as I time I'm recording this, 40 in about 3/4 of an hour. They do play exciting football, and challenge Richmond in tonight's game. So the last one, the last bold prediction, I think I said Clarko. Yeah, this will be, I think, will be Clarko's last as a coach. That one might be the most controversial one. But yeah, I think for me, I think this year will not only be his last as a Hawthorn coach, but also be his last as a coach in the AFL system. Yeah, after that, I don't know, maybe might become a director of football at Hawthorn or somewhere else. I don't know, maybe at the Gold Coast Suns. I can see him, if he does decide to want to coach again in the AFL, I could see him more as a coach of the Gold Coast Suns. Even though Stuart Dew is doing a good job in that role, I think I can see him maybe helping out Stuart Dew at the Gold Coast Suns, or helping out the Gold Coast Suns in that way. I could see that happen more than him going to Carlton to replace David Teague as coach. Even though Carlton is saying that they are happy with David Teague as coach, but yeah. So that's basically it for the bold predictions, and that's it for this video. Remember, like this video, comment, share this video to anyone who's a Western Bulldogs fan, or a West Coast fan, or an Essendon fan, or a Brisbane fan, anybody. Comment down below what your predictions are. Who do you think will win the Brownlow medal, or Coleman medal, the works. Also want to hear your opinions on these bold predictions also. And one last thing, somewhere down there, press the big red button which is called subscribe, and click on the notification bell and switch on notifications in your settings to get notified of when I next upload. So yeah, but until next time, guys, I'll see yous later.